Welcome everyone to another CoH2 playcast. We're going to have a 1v1 on Lee's Breakout. It's going to be between Makarov, who sent in the replay, against Rive, playing as Vermacht. Now, let's actually talk a little bit about the map. Lee's Breakout, obviously, not the map that comes up the most in terms of 1v1s. However, it is a map that is sometimes very fun to play because of the terrain with the buildings in the center, and the left side being a little bit more open, with the right side having the church and the walls, makes it so fighting on every side of the map feels a little bit different. The field points are very much harassable, and they've also got some cutoffs that you can use to obviously deny the enemy the resource. So it's actually a pretty vulnerable location. You need to defend it with all your strength pretty much. And then there are two munitions points that are pretty much in the center of the map. Very, very exposed, lots of red cover around here, and you can cap both of them and get the hell out of there before the enemy can do anything because of the location in the center of the map. Now, we do see that Makarov is going to go for the heavy cavalry company right off the start, so we're going to see probably some rangers because of the close range areas on the right side of the map and in the center of the map, and probably some mines from the riflemen. I would like to see some mines as well, because obviously there's a lot of really narrow passages such as this one, this one, this one, and perhaps even this one, where you can place down mines and deal a lot of damage to the enemy that way. Now, we do see a mortar out of him, and the mortar early on is going to be useful with all the buildings that are in the center in case Rive wants to use this machine gun that he does have to prevent the enemy from capturing the center or the right side of the map, where the sort of bigger buildings are, and the mortar is going to be good at countering that. Unfortunately, right now he doesn't really see anything. Now, he will spot these Grenadiers. First engagement, you see the riflemen trying to get behind their car to get some cover. However, Grenadiers getting into cover themselves will be exposed to this mortar fire, so that will not be that great. Now, first casualty is a rifleman, and in fact the mortar already starts to fire and deals a huge amount of damage to these Grenadiers. Grenadiers obviously trying to retreat as quickly as possible from there, because that's not exactly what they want to do. We do see some rear echelon troops capturing the VP on the left side of the map, while the engineers actually from the Germans, ooh, a retreat. I would not have retreated if I was him. I would have stayed and tried to fight the pioneers at long range, because obviously the rear echelons are better at fighting the longer the range is comparatively to the pioneers. Pioneers want to get in close as much as possible. We do see that the German player Rive is going for a mortar, and the mortar obviously is meant to counter the American mortar. However, the American mortar is usually superior in terms of both 1v1 and shooting at other units, so I feel like it would not be that great of a move to go for a mortar. I would have gone for a third Grenadier squad to try to push the riflemen as much as possible and have a sort of pushing back of the riflemen so that you can go in and take out the mortar when the infantry screen, I guess you can call it, is out of position. Now, machine gun has set up in a pretty decent spot to suppress this one rifleman squad, but second rifleman squad was actually microed correctly, went around the machine gun's right arc of fire and took it out fairly easily. It's going to be forced to retreat, and the Grenadiers taking a lot of damage as well. Now, the German mortar will make its appearance and will start shooting at these riflemen. Of course, riflemen managing to get out of the fire and trying to capture the right side VP. And the right side VP obviously is a little bit easier to defend from the north than the south because of this church. However, if Makarov can actually make good use of that church to his advantage, then he will be able to get some VP lead on his opponent. The VPs are pretty even. Unfortunately, it looks like he actually seems to have misclicked these riflemen, and they went onto the automatically onto the cover, because units tend to huddle around the cover that is nearby them. So sometimes you need to click multiple times for them to not get out of a points capture. In fact, we do see some mines in a pretty good spot. In fact, while he's capturing the munitions points, he's getting some mines. Good job in not really wasting time, because obviously while your units are capturing, they're not doing anything else. But unfortunately, it looks like the mines will be spotted by this machine gun. I'm not sure if the machine gun is being used on, yes, it is being used on attack move. In fact, it is going to set up immediately because of the attack move. Very luckily decides to actually cancel the mine building before the MG can actually make its first burst count. So obviously, while your riflemen are building, they take a lot more damage. By the way, in the meantime, the Pioneers have been capturing the south side of the map, so that's a great play by Rive. Actually, they will be probably repelled by this lieutenant, because obviously the lieutenant is going to be excellent at close range against these grenadiers and excellent against the pioneers as well. In fact, the grenadiers are going to retreat through negative cover, and the BAR from the rifleman over here that's guarding the lieutenant, no, he will not go down. Okay. So yeah, essentially when you're building a building or a mine or something like that, you're going to take more damage because your units are obviously building, and they're going to be easier to hit for enemy units. So you want to cancel the building as quickly as possible once you see some enemies trying to interrupt you as you're building. Now, the mortar pit, the mortar could actually be used with its barrage, because I'm pretty sure that Makarov knows that this machine gun is here. That's actually, he may not know, but one actual trick that you can use, that's not exactly fair play, it's a little dirty. When you have a unit and you're clicking into the fog of war, I'm not sure if it's going to work in our replay as well, and you click onto, oh no, it doesn't, because it cannot do that. Okay, when you click on a building that's in the fog of war with a unit, with the right click, obviously, as in you're trying to get in, it will flash red if there's actually an enemy inside. So you can use that as a bit of a map hack to actually know if the enemy has a building occupied or not. And that's a pretty decent way to see where the enemy machine guns are, because obviously on maps like these, the enemy is going to enjoy having the machine guns in the buildings rather than any other unit. So you can use your mortar to actually take them out. Now, we do see that from the lieutenant here, Makarov is going to go for a M20 utility car, which is obviously an excellent choice because of the M20 mines, but also because of the armored skirts, allowing it to be an excellent harassing and counter-harassing unit all over the map, pretty much, because it is going to be pretty much impervious to small arms fire if the armored skirts are improved. Even if they aren't, though, the M20 is still a very dangerous unit to things like pioneers and in some cases grenadiers, because obviously grenadiers can Panzerfaust the M20. However, if the grenadiers are beyond the maximum range of the M20, the M20 with its excellent speed can maneuver around the grenadiers, dealing a lot of damage while they try to catch up. Unfortunately, I don't think Makarov is doing really a good thing by keeping the M20 backwards. This is really one of those units that you need to make sort of do with a very limited window of time to make it effective. Because as soon as any German vehicle comes up, then the M20 will be pretty much useless. In fact, even when a pack is purchased, then the M20 will not be that useful. In fact, as you can see, because there are no armored skirts upgraded, the MG was able to deal a lot of damage to the M20. The M20 will be able to snipe out the mortar a little bit and force it to retreat. However, the Grenadiers may be able to get a Panzerfaust off. In fact, there's another Grenadier squad over here. The M20 could probably manage a retreat through the left side over here. Since this is in a Wehrmacht base and not an OKW base, there is no danger of the murder flags actually destroying the M20, so that's going to be good for him. Managing to actually get out, doing a little bit of a drive-by, doing some damage to the mortar, getting a little bit of RNC. So overall, a pretty successful raid with the M20. However, it highlighted both the strengths and the weaknesses of the unit, because obviously the M20, while it was very deadly and very quick in getting in and out, it was also very close to dying, even just from some rifle and machine gun fire. In fact, the Germans are trying to chase the M20, it looks like. The two squads over here, these two Grenadiers, are kind of standing still, which is obviously a very big mistake. In the meantime, because they are standing there doing really nothing, the Allies can get around the map, capture a lot of points. In fact, really good usage of the rear echelon squads capturing the right side to have the units that are actually capable of fighting on the left side. He sent the rear echelons to the right. And really good usage of the smoke from the mortar as well. Unfortunately, I don't think he's really doing that great of a maneuver by putting all of his guys on one side of the building, because right now if the machine gun sees them and manages to reset up to the left side of the map, reface to the left side of the building, before the rifleman can take it out, which is not what happened. But if he had done that, then he would have been able to actually suppress all of the infantry squads, whereas if there was one infantry squad over here, one infantry squad over here, and one infantry squad over here, he would not have been able to suppress all of them at once. And then the two others that were not in the direct arc of fire, because of the machine gun being only able to face one of the sides, would have been able to take out the machine gun, thus rescuing the other squad that's taken fire. However, thanks to the mortar shot being able to pretty much wipe out the weapon crew, he wasn't really in any danger of that. Now, the M20 will take a Panzerfaust on the left side of the map, trying to do some kind of harassment against these Grenadiers. Grenadiers, obviously, they were coming in to chase the M20, but they ended up capturing the VP. There is also another Grenadier squad that's actually not fired a Panzerfaust yet, and that's going to deal a lot of damage to the M20. The M20 is very close to dying. It doesn't have any skirts. In fact, he will pull out his vehicle crew. I'm not sure if that's a great idea. Now, there is an M20 mine over here. Oh, okay, so he will actually use the bazooka on his M20 crew to actually destroy the vehicle. He knew that it was going to die anyway from the Kar 98K fire from the front. So he actually decided to salvage the situation and salvage at least the crew, which he can use later to crew another vehicle, such as, for example, I don't know, if he went for a captain, a Stuart, or perhaps later on a Sherman from the Major Tech. Of course, he does have a Ranger squad in production, or rather, that's already been produced. And he is building the, he's going both for the grenade package. Obviously, the grenade tech would have come in handy assaulting this building. And so that's what he's thinking, probably. He's probably thinking that he needs to have some kind of tool to deal with buildings, to deal with those entrenched positions. In fact, the grenade package also allows you to use smoke grenades. So it's not only a good thing for clearing out buildings from the enemy, it's also a good thing because it can relieve your mortar from smoke duty sometimes. Sometimes you just want to use your mortar for the normal mortar barrage and you don't want to waste time actually laying down a smoke screen. So you can actually just use your rifleman for that after you upgrade grenades. And right now it would have been a pretty good decision to upgrade grenades, so I completely agree. Unfortunately for Makarov, we do see a STK Z222 on the field. Z222 will be excellent against pretty much anything except the M20 vehicle crew. Of course, we do have to remember that Makarov just went for the weapon rack unlock. So the weapon rack unlock will allow him to have a bazooka team, perhaps from the rear echelons. Rear echelons, obviously, having the minesweeper is absolutely the correct decision. Doesn't want to get caught off by teller mines or even S minefields. Even though with the S minefield you can obviously see where it is because of the signs, you still want to be able to defuse it without any problems, and the minesweepers allow you to do just that. Also, yeah, pretty much it's the best idea to actually go for a minesweeper, but it essentially kind of limits your ability to upgrade other weapons to only one weapon. So essentially any squad with a minesweeper will only be able to upgrade one bazooka. Now that is not too great of a problem if Makarov was going for a captain, which I feel like he should be because he's got 730 manpower, and of course, with that excess manpower, you have to think, what am I going to do with it? And one excellent thing is an anti-tank gun. An excellent purchase would also be another rifleman squad, because he's got 2 rifleman squads right now, but 2 rifleman squads aren't that many. In fact, already the Grenadiers, oh god. In fact, already the Grenadiers are a little bit more numerous. There's 3 of them. And 1 second, I need to check something. Okay, seems to be fine. Yeah, essentially what I was talking about was the rifleman. Ooh, really good wipe on the pioneers, actually. Ooh. So there was also another wipe on these grenadiers from the fighting position with the rifle grenades, actually, it looks like, because that's a lot of... Yeah, that's rifle grenades. Interesting. And also the mortar getting wiped, so a lot of units going down for the Germans. And I feel like he just kind of had a bit of a micro problem because he also lost his half-track that was charging through the center for no real reason. And that's a big problem because right now he's lost quite a lot of manpower in terms of units that were on the field. So he's going to need to invest quite a lot of manpower to regain those units. And right now, because of the fact that a lot of the German units got killed, then Makarov can just run around the map and just capture a bunch of points, regain a bunch of map control, and use that to his advantage. Now, he actually went for a second Ranger squad. I feel like that is a mistake because he does not have the munitions to upgrade them. And so I feel like going for the captain and the anti-tank gun would have been better for him. Of course, we do see that the mortar in the center might be taking a rifle grenade. In fact, the rifle grenade does go off, but it doesn't kill anyone from the mortar squad. The Grenadiers will be trying to come in to finish off the mortar. Unfortunately for them, there is a rifleman squad, but the rifleman will not stay to protect the mortar, no. So the mortar will probably get wiped because of this. Whoa, are you kidding me? So the mortar actually somehow lives, which was interesting. And of course, the rifleman also managed to deal a couple of casualties to these Grenadiers. And right now, the main problem is the fact that Rive doesn't really have any troops to take and hold territory. Because what I said earlier about there being more Grenadiers than Riflemen, right now has been turned completely on its head, in that there's still more Grenadiers than Riflemen, but the Americans just have so many more units that are not riflemen. There's 2 rangers and a lieutenant, which means that there's pretty much 2 more infantry squads in terms of mainline infantry. In fact, 3 more infantry squads because another grenadier squad just went down. I'm not sure where. Again, I have no idea where it was. Perhaps over here? I have no idea. So yeah, Reve definitely needs to work on his unit preservation because he's just allowing Makarov to take control of the game, really. And right now, 3rd Ranger spot from Makarov, that is definitely a mistake. That is absolutely a mistake because of the fact that he needs to not have too many expensive infantry units. And one main problem with having too many Rangers is the fact that later on, yeah, you may be getting rid of a lot of manpower float, but then they're very expensive in terms of upkeep. They're very expensive in terms of reinforcing, so after you have them for a while, you will start to take losses with them, especially if they take unnecessary fights, such as against this 2-2 while suppressed. So eventually you have to reinforce them all, and that will be very expensive. So having 3 Ranger squads in a 1v1 is not really that great. I would have, if you wanted more infantry, I would have gone for another Rifleman squad, because 3 Rifleman squads are a pretty good number. And again, terrible losses. On the left side, Reve losing his Pioneers to a Rifleman squad, just for no real reason, and that's just very sad, unfortunately. Now, on the right side, we do see that the fighting position covering the field point has been making its mark, absolutely sort of stopping this one attempt from the Germans to recapture the right side field. Germans are being completely choked out of resources by Makarov, and that's a pretty good way to make the enemy surrender, because honestly, I don't see how Reve could be coming back. I mean, he could go for a tier 3 right now. Wait, what? Can I please see the... I can't see the German buildings, actually. Oh boy, that's so annoying. Well, let's just click on it. He could go for the tier 3 right now to try to get a Panzer out. He would need to wait for quite a while if he cannot get something to sort of recapture a fuel point. Of course, right now, what he should be doing with this armored car is actually going to the right side fuel and taking out the fighting position, because obviously the armored car is able to easily destroy the fighting position. Whereas with the Grenadiers, he should be harassing the center, and then with the armored car and the Engineers, he should go for the fuel point. But he's not doing that. He's using the armored car as a fighting unit, which he kind of needs. Now, we do see a major out of Makarov, and that's, considering the situation with the 2 fuel points being under the control of the Americans, that's kind of understandable. Because right now he will be able to get out a Sherman in about 5 fuel. So obviously very quickly. He was going to need to wait for the manpower. However, that's going to come eventually. So in about a minute or so, we will see a Sherman on the field. And there is no counter for the Sherman in terms of anti-tank from the Germans. Of course, we do have some Panzerfausts from the Grenadiers. However, there is not enough to counter the Sherman if the Sherman equips AP rounds. So we do also see the American Blob just coming in and destroying these Pioneers. In fact, they're not being retreated. This is just very, very bad play by Reve. He should definitely retreat much quicker than he is doing. Now, we do see that finally he decided to use his armored car to destroy this very pesky fighting position. Fighting position being a very nice tool for Makarov, because it kind of stopped the Germans from recapturing this fuel point for like 3 or 4 minutes, which you may think of it as a sort of an exchange in terms of exchanging munitions and manpower for fuel. So it was a pretty successful one at that. Now, in the center, we do see the MG42 in the building over here. It's going to try to suppress these Rangers, but the Rangers will be able to take out the mortar before the MG suppresses them. Of course, the smoke barrage from the Ranger company is also going to be really nice at blinding the machine guns. Of course, we also know that the Rangers can throw grenades, so obviously the grenade throw will be very dangerous. Rikke should have been retreating out of that building. He was very lucky that the grenade didn't do more damage. In fact, the grenade almost took out the building. In fact, the mortar might take out the building. It's taken some pot shots at the mortar, and or rather at the building, and the building is very much close to collapsing. On the left side, we do see some Grenadiers trying to capture the left side VP, which they should have been doing from earlier, but now they're doing that, and that's fine. However, the mortar is about to take out the building in the center. And again, I feel like Makarov could definitely make a lot better usage of the mortar barrage. Right now, he's not really hitting the building because of the fact that earlier on, when the Rangers retreated, he lost line of sight of that MG. So right now, when the riflemen come back in, then the mortar takes 1 shot. But then when the riflemen aren't in a position to actually spot the machine gun, then the mortar is not firing at the machine gun. Whereas if he had just used the mortar barrage on the building, he would have been much better off. In fact, even attack round with G would have been better off than that, because the attack round is pretty much the mortar barrage, except it doesn't have a cooldown. I'm not even sure if there's a difference, honestly. In the center, again, Ranger's going to be able to go to town on these Grenadiers. One problem is the fact that obviously Makarov does not have enough munitions to upgrade all of the Rangers, but even the ones that are being upgraded are still being useful as support troops because they're very accurate with those M1 carbines that they do have, and so they're still pretty good. And the main problem for right now for Rive is the fact that also his last chance to actually do something useful was to get out a tier 3 and get out a Panzer IV. However, he didn't do that. Despite actually going for tier 3 for the battle phase 2, he will not go for the Panzer IV, and he will go for another armored car for no real reason. Right now, Makarov, once he sees the armored car, should just purchase a Sherman immediately, because he may have been sort of waiting. Rangers with a flamethrower, ooh, sexy. He may have just been waiting actually on his resources to build either a Jackson if he saw some kind of German armor, or a Sherman if he saw some lighter vehicles. So I feel like he should be going for the Sherman right now. He may be saving up for the Pershing, but the Pershing is going to be sort of a little bit too late in terms of the command points. The command points are obviously going to take quite a while to take up from 11 to 13. So in that period, he, especially with 2 fuel points under his control, he's going to be able to regain the resources that he spends on a Sherman. The Sherman is only 110 fuel, so obviously getting the Sherman out is not really that big of a setback if, let's say, he takes 5 minutes to get to the CP requirement, the 13 CPs. If he takes 5 minutes and he gets a Sherman now, he's going to be at 130 fuel, and then in 5 minutes he's going to be at 270 fuel. So he's going to have enough for the Pershing. Nice play with the Rangers. I would have liked to see a grenade actually on that Grenadier squad. However, it wasn't needed. Again, Rangers just really showing why they're so good at close range. I would also like to see Makarov going for some BARs on his Rangers, because you could get both Thompsons and one BAR. Of course, this one Ranger squad having the the Thompsons and the Flamethrower means that it's going to be extremely dangerous against buildings. So I would like to see the other ones go for the Thompsons and the BARs to be more dangerous at long range. But it doesn't look like the Germans can really do much. We do have the triple cap out of the Americans, and the triple cap obviously means that right now the Germans have 2 minutes before they have to lose, because they will run out of VPs. And there is another Grenadier squad on the right, but I don't think it will be able to stand up to the might of the Rangers once they actually approach. And again, I would have really liked to see a Sherman out, because right now if a Sherman had been out, then right now Rive would not be in any position to even attempt to fight back. He would just have to surrender because he doesn't have anything. Of course, he should go for the Tiger, because he does not really have right now the ability to get a medium tank and then try to sort of wait out your heavy tank, because at this point, with the amount of resources that he did have, going for the medium tank and then waiting for the heavy tank would have taken so long that it was not really feasible. So you either go for the heavy tank immediately, which it's what he was doing and is what I would have done in this situation, or you just, I don't know, you just try to get 2 medium tanks, but that would have also been kind of not really viable. And again, yeah, what I would have liked to see more out of Makarov was a little bit more usage of the manpower in terms of getting riflemen instead of Rangers, and also getting support weapons, because he went for one mortar. He could have gone for a 50 cal machine gun, which I actually forgot to mention, because of course he would have been able to use that to hold the center or the left side VP and fuel points instead of fighting positions, because obviously he was a little bit short on munitions, but he wasn't really short on manpower, so he could have done that. I liked his mines. I liked the usage of the smoke. Yeah, I could have really enjoyed the Sherman, but other than that, I don't really see any problems. So I want to thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the cast. I hope you learned something, and I'll see you soon.